Welcome to UPLEVEL, Real Health, Real Talk with Dr. Jenna Blasi. I'm Dr. Jenna. I spent years crafting ways to help women thrive, and I want to help you do the same. On this podcast, we dive deep into health at every level, focusing on the mind, the body, and the spirit. This is where real conversations meet transformational wellness. We'll be talking about all the things that truly matter, from nutrition and fitness to lifestyle, mindset, and personal development. Plus, the real deal on managing stress and navigating menopause. So if you're ready to elevate your health journey with authentic, transformative insights, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to UPLEVEL, Real Health, Real Talk with Dr. Jenna. October is Menopause Awareness Month, and so I want to talk to you about something that comes up for pretty much every woman I work with. At some point, I hear women in midlife less about hot flashes and more about fatigue. And it's that deep, continuous underlying fatigue, that tiredness that doesn't go away with sleep, with coffee. So we've been taught, push harder, drink more caffeine, just power through, even if it's a subtle teaching. But midlife energy is not about willpower. Keeping those workouts up is not about willpower. It's actually about your physiology, your hormones, and the habits that either drain or restore your energy on a cellular level. So a lot of times the women I work with, when they're fatigued, it's starting to creep in and affect all aspects, and they kind of feel like their spark is dimming. Maybe you wake up already tired. Maybe your workouts that used to energize you now wipe you out, or you're needing more caffeine just to get through the afternoon. So today we're going to dive into why midlife fatigue happens, and not just on the surface level of I'm busy and I'm stressed, but what's going on underneath your hormones, your mitochondria, sleep, and even your nervous system. All of these things, or most of these things, I have separate episodes on that we can do a deeper dive into. But I really want to focus today on why and what you can actually do to get your energy back sustainably and not just running on fumes. So when we're in midlife, there's hormonal shifts going on. Estrogen actually supports mitochondrial energy production. So it's literally like an energy hormone. And as it drops, your cells become less efficient at producing ATP, which is your body's energy currency. And so this is happening before your hormones even quote unquote bottom out. You might still be cycling, still functioning, but you're already noticing more afternoon slumps and less resilience. And so this is why we want to get ahead of it before it's more of an issue. And progesterone's calming effect on our body is also declining. And this is raising our baseline stress reactivity. We're maybe getting more triggered. The hormonal shifts could be causing mood issues, etc. And all of these things lead to sleep disruption. So now you have your hormone changes, nighttime awakenings. This equals reduced deep sleep, which is, of course, going to lead to more fatigue. And as we talked about in one of our sleep episodes, even mild sleep deprivation, and in our inflammation podcast, even mild sleep deprivation raises those inflammatory cytokines, and it impairs your mitochondrial repair. Sleep is so important for restoration. That was kind of redundant. What am I trying to say? Rest, repair, recovery, and really hormone harmony, if you will. And one poor night's sleep can raise your cortisol and decrease your insulin sensitivity. So this means more cravings and more blood sugar swings and more daytime fatigue. So if you're burning the candle at both ends, or maybe you're just not sleeping deeply, your energy will absolutely reflect that. The other thing that estrogen and progesterone, as these shift, that is affected is your thyroid, right? Estrogen and progesterone shift, and they can change how thyroid hormones are converted, how they're used. And thyroid is metabolism. Thyroid is energy. It's going to affect your sleep, all the things. So your metabolism and energy can dip even if your labs look quote unquote normal. And I talk a lot about that, about the sort of uselessness of sometimes saying our labs are normal when maybe we're not looking at the right things or we're not looking deeper into those things. So estrogen affects thyroid hormone conversion of T4 to T3, which is your inactive thyroid into your active thyroid. So this obviously affects our energy level because T3 is the active form in our body. Now we add stress on top of that, not to mention decreased stress resilience, and cortisol can start to dominate. And while cortisol is meant to mobilize energy, give us energy, right? Run from the bear, chronic elevations end up doing the opposite and lead to inflammation, and we end up getting very tired. So the last thing I want to say about subclinical thyroid changes and these cortisol changes and responses in our body, these can mimic what we tend to refer to as like, oh, you're just getting older fatigue. But it's not that. And we have this idea in our culture, it seems that like, oh, it's just normal to not feel good later in life and in midlife. And it really doesn't have to be that way. So chronic stress, toxins, poor nutrition, and overtraining all affect mitochondrial output, which is the cellular equivalent of a drained battery. So we have these hormone shifts leading to sleep disruption. Sleep disruption leads to more hormone changes, and then the thyroid's affected, the metabolism is affected, our nervous system gets affected by all this, and our mitochondrial load gets affected. Our mitochondrial efficiency gets affected. And then, of course, inflammation, which just did a whole episode on inflammation. After menopause, inflammation quietly creeping in. And as I've mentioned, studies show that C-reactive protein, which is one of the inflammatory markers in the body, rises after menopause, even when weight and lifestyle stay the same. And that inflammation slows energy production, affects insulin sensitivity, and can make you feel like you're running through mud. Now, before I get into habits that we can do, habits that we can implement to give us our energy back, support our energy, I would be remiss if I didn't mention what is a big piece for me, which is the joy factor. Joy. A lot of women in midlife are used to doing for everybody else, prioritizing everybody else, kids first. Maybe you're in the sandwich generation where you're taking care of kids and aging parents. Maybe you're caregiving. Maybe even if your kids are out of the house, you're still caring for ailing parents. Maybe you're in a job that you don't enjoy anymore. Maybe you're in a relationship that's not supporting you, or it was a good relationship, but the libido's down and your stress is up and it's not as vibrant as it was. All of these things affect our joy, and our joy affects our energy. One of my favorite things to do is help women get their joy back, to really explore what brings you joy and how do we get that back, not only on a deeper, more permanent way, but on every day. Every day we should have laughter and joy in our lives. And I've taught this I was at a menopause summit and I taught menopause and joy. And I did a cardiovascular summit and I taught like cardiovascular disease and joy. And so how do we find health, find balance, feel good in our bodies, but also be truly joyful, be really happy. It doesn't mean like we're walking around happy all the time, but that you're living your life with your purpose. I believe that everybody has a purpose. And when we're fulfilling our purpose, we tend to be joyful. And when we're exhausted and burning the candle at both ends and not doing our purpose, we don't feel that joy anymore. And then these little things maybe that would give us joy before, or big things for that matter, we're maybe not doing them. Maybe you got joy out of sex, but now your libido's low and you have vaginal dryness and whatever it is, where you don't have the energy. At the end of the day or on the weekend, I see this a lot, to do the things that you want to do. Okay, so let's talk about that. And that's a whole probably separate topic. Find your joy. Find a way to find your joy. Work with someone that can help you rediscover and get your health back so you can live your purpose and be joyful. But I'm going to scale it back again and talk about daily habits that give energy back. And if I sounded a little distracted a few moments ago, there's a lot going on in my house with animals and my daughter. And so I kind of lost my train of thought. You may or may not have noticed. I notice. So I'm going to speak to it. So daily, because this is real life, right? I was doing a webinar a couple of weeks ago. My cat climbed up and was like in front of the screen. And then he wanted me to let him out. And I actually had to pause because he was not going to stop meowing to let him outside. So, and then the dog was waiting for him. It was a whole thing. Anyway, this is life, right? And if we don't have energy and we're not in a good mood, these things can really throw us off. I mean, maybe not your cat jumping in front of your computer, but again, the more frayed we are with the nervous system, the more we're going to react to these various things that don't go our way that show up in our lives. So daily habits. Number one, how about anchoring your circadian rhythm? Anchor your circadian rhythm. And what I mean by that is morning light. We want to get melatonin working when it's supposed to, and cortisol. And so they're in relationship with each other. And a lot of people have a flipped circadian rhythm, right? You're exhausted in the morning when you should be energized. And then at night, when you're still exhausted, but you're wired and tired. You can't shut your brain off. You can't go to sleep because your cortisol is up, your circadian rhythm is flipped. So we want to anchor our circadian rhythm with morning light exposure, as well as minimizing blue light exposure at night, having a consistent wake time, a consistent sleep time, and an evening wind down, restore yourself rhythm. Number two, eat to stabilize blood sugar. And there's lots of people out there talking about, and lots of evidence that like fasting and intermittent fasting is not so great for women, especially if you're doing a morning workout. And so when we eat to stabilize blood sugar, we want to prioritize protein. There's that protein piece again, 30, maybe 40 grams per meal. Now I know this can feel hard. So again, work with somebody that can maybe help this feel easier to you. So prioritizing protein and then having balanced carbs, healthy fats, because that energy crash that we have requires a cortisol response, and that compounds our fatigue. And so when we're skipping meals, for example, especially breakfast, there have been studies, I mean, a lot really, that show, and I get it, like I'm actually not hungry in the morning. Like I have to I like working out fasted. I've really had to adjust this as I've hit menopause, because they've shown that when you stop starving yourself in the morning, or any time of day, but in the morning in particular, you actually eat less throughout the whole day. And we're less likely to binge at night when we have that healthy breakfast. So when we skip meals, especially breakfast, it only worsens blood sugar dips and hormonal stress. So your body is already trying to conserve energy, and starving it just makes it hold on tighter. Same with the fat that maybe you're having trouble releasing. It's like, well, I don't know where the next meal is coming from. So it's holding on to the weight and the body fat. Number three, definitely move your body, but be careful of overtraining. So some of the women I work with maybe have never implemented a regular exercise routine. And so we have to start building muscle and maintaining muscle and protecting the bones. But a lot of other women they're on this cycle of like eat less, move more, eat less, move more. And then we start overtraining. Many of these women are in low energy availability. And so midlife recovery can demand more rest between your intense workouts. I've noticed that. Or sometimes even time of day. Like I like to work out in the morning, but I've noticed like post menopause that some mornings I would really be pushing. And I can feel like the days of like 6 a.m. workouts are few and far between for me anymore. And even 8:39, because I try to exercise by between 7:30 and 8:30 ideally. I really listen to my body, because sometimes I'm like, you know what? I need a little extra time. I need a little extra nourishment. I'm going to move some things around and do my workout at 10 or 10:30 and getting that extra recovery. So listening to your body, because you might need more rest in between intense workouts. So even changing time of day, like I just mentioned, can have an effect on that. But think also like strength training plus walks plus mobility. It doesn't always have to be HIIT and cardio and go, go, go. Now, I love HIIT. And HIIT is actually really important in midlife. I do HIIT 2 or 3 times a week. So it's not like an everyday thing. So finding what works for you, but that you're also not pushing through, that you're really listening when your body does want recovery. And then supporting our mitochondria could be adequate protein, nutrients like B vitamins, magnesium, omega-3s, like getting the nutrition that we need. I'm not saying go on a bunch of supplements, but just being aware of where you might be deficient, and sleep, of course. These are more powerful than like fancy supplements. Like take this whatever with all these unstudied things to get your energy back. And then a lot of those fancy supplements are like B vitamins and caffeine. I don't know. So like read labels, but realize that just some of these basic things like omegas, anti-inflammatory, going to have a lot of positive effects on your body. Magnesium, a lot of us are deficient. B vitamins. and sleep are going to be really powerful, natural things without these high-end, quote unquote, exotic type supplements. Because when we feel drained, when we don't have the nutrition we need, or we're overtraining, or low energy, or burning the candle at both ends, we reach for those quick fixes. We reach for those quick fixes: caffeine, sugar, overstimulation. So I want to talk about caffeine briefly. I'm not anti-caffeine. There's a lot of people out there who are like, you should never have caffeine, you shouldn't have coffee, but I'm not anti-caffeine at all, but realizing in midlife our sensitivity changes. So I see a lot of women that when they actually gradually reduce caffeine, what we're doing is not saying, hey, a lot of people, like, I love a coffee ritual. Like, a lot of people, like, coffee is like a whole thing. It's beyond caffeine for them, or maybe they're green tea or whatever. But coffee seems to have more like ritual and like emotional attachment to it, I've noticed. But the caffeine doesn't create real energy. And so I think anytime we're needing something, like I'm like this with chocolate. I love chocolate. I just go and go and go. And I'm like, okay, chocolate's controlling me. I'm not controlling chocolate. So let me just stop it for a little bit and reset. And I think that this can be really important with caffeine. And I see this a lot when we feel like we need it. Most of the women that are needing it are like on this little energy and emotional sort of roller, not necessarily emotional, but definitely energy roller coaster throughout the day. And so when they gradually reduce their caffeine, they get a sense of what their baseline energy really feels like. And if we're working with the gut and nutrition and all of these other pieces at the same time, a lot of these people, again, women in general, women more specifically, they actually get more energy when they scale back and then maybe even eliminate caffeine so they can see what their real baseline energy feels like. If they're doing all of the other things that I talk about at the same time, they have more energy. I hear so frequently, I stopped caffeine and I'm not needing my afternoon nap, because again, caffeine is like, it's blocking the brain's fatigue signal, but it's not real energy. And so we can crash. I have noticed I'm very sensitive to caffeine, and I've noticed sometimes I have more energy if I don't have caffeine. If I have caffeine, I kind of like sugar, I can sometimes crash from it. So find what your real energy baseline feels like. Again, it doesn't mean you're not going to drink coffee again, but get that baseline and maybe do it for the ritual and the enjoyment and the taste rather than, that's my gratefulness timer. If you heard that little buzzer go off, that reminds me to check in. What am I thinking about? So what was I saying? Darn it. I'll take a moment. Be grateful. I'm grateful to be here with you all. What was I saying? I'm not sure. I'm just going to pick up. Hopefully whatever I was midstream, you all won't be like, Dr. Jenna, you totally didn't finish that thought. It doesn't create real energy. And so a lot of people I see, they get off the caffeine and they actually have steadier energy through the day. They don't need that afternoon nap. And then they can add it back in as something that they're enjoying, but they're not needing it. Because the other thing is that regular use increases the receptor sensitivity. So we actually need more to have the same effect, which is why a lot of people go from, I had this much to now I'm at this much. Now I know a lot of you are like, I just do 1 cup a day and that's it, or 2 cups, but just be aware. And then really most important is just seeing how it's affecting your sleep. Even caffeine 6 to 8 hours before bedtime can disrupt our deep sleep stages. So you might need to cut caffeine off earlier. And in midlife, the reality is the declining estrogen and there can be slower caffeine metabolism. And this can mean that the same morning coffee that once worked now fuels sleep issues and other things, mostly sleep. Like a lot of people will say that caffeine causes high blood pressure. Studies have actually shown that's not true. I mean, it's up to I forget what the study showed, but it was up to several cups before they found an influence on hypertension. And same with we talk about it spiking cortisol, but that's really typically only in very sensitive individuals. Most of the time, it's not actually doing that because the body adapts. The body adapts and it's not spiking cortisol. But I would recommend that a better approach is limiting caffeine to before 10 a.m. Try a caffeine holiday or maybe a half calf. and replace that afternoon fix. I think that this is the more important piece even than the morning one. Replace that afternoon fix with sunlight, with movement, with hydration, with protein. I can remember when I used to be in person more at my brick and mortar office, I would get this like afternoon slump and I think, oh my gosh, I want chocolate. I'd never really reach for coffee in the afternoon because I don't metabolize it well and I wouldn't sleep, but I would reach for like subtle caffeine, right? The chocolate or even just a Cliff Bar or something. And I would always say, just drink water. Like just drink water first. Let's really see how you're feeling. And I like to do powdered green drinks personally in the afternoon, or a real green drink, but at the office I'd have powdered ones and I would just be fine. As soon as I'd get up, I'd move, I'd make a green drink, which is also consuming a lot of water because I would put a lot of water in it. And then I didn't have that desire or that quote unquote need for the chocolate, for the Cliff Bar. So just kind of be aware, reset, see what you can do for that afternoon fix, protein, hydration, movement, sunlight. These are the real energy builders. All the things we've talked about, sleep hygiene, protein divided throughout the day, that timing of protein. You're not trying to get all of your protein done at breakfast. It's dividing it throughout the day, throughout your meals, strength training, sunlight, breath work, steady blood sugar. All of these things are going to really help your energy over time. And then to recap what not to do, skipping meals, under fueling. I'll just have coffee until noon. I love intermittent fasting, but there comes a point when most of the people, and I did intermittent fasting for years, it doesn't work the same way in midlife. And it can really actually cause overeating and some other things. So skipping meals, under fueling, overtraining without recovery. So many of you are overtraining and under fueling. So you have low energy availability. And then when we're not really taking care of ourselves on a deep level, on all these levels, whether it's your joy level, your hormones being addressed, all the other pieces, then you might find yourself, like, let's say you're retired, laying around more, which is going to make you more tired. So it can be a vicious cycle. So I know not everybody out there is overtraining. Maybe you're just like, I'm so tired, I'm just on the couch, or you're in pain, or you're so inflamed. Address those things so you can get your energy back, so you can move your body. Late day caffeine and alcohol, not a good idea. They'll affect your sleep adversely. And then ignoring stress management, ignoring breath work. These things really matter and they stack up. They stack up. We want to have it stack. So your midlife energy, let's reset it. So you can, here's your plan. Everything I've said, but pick something that really resonates with you. Audit your energy leaks. Track your sleep, for example. Look at your caffeine intake. Look at your food timing, movement. Track these things for a week. Track your joy. Are you joyous? Are you miserable? Are you irritated all day long? And what is the environment within you and around you that's contributing to that? What can you shift? What are you doing that really drains you in your work or in your life that maybe you could delegate and give to somebody else? Rebuild your rhythm, number 2. So same wake time, same sleep time, light exposure, no blue light before bed. Just getting that circadian rhythm reset. And then number 3, like nourish and move for your mitochondria. Getting enough protein, getting enough hydration, doing strength training, maybe gentle walks in nature, resting. I smile because, well, those of you that see me on YouTube, some of you are just listening, I smile because these things feel good. It can be overwhelming when you try to do all the things, but I said like walk in nature, and immediately like I felt my nervous system just go, Right now it's really cloudy here. We're awaiting some kind of hurricane or something. Anyway, and I love this, the light and nature. So find what you love, find what brings a smile to your face, find what relaxes your nervous system. Fatigue is not you're broken. It's not a personal failure. It's just feedback. Remember, right? It's just information. When we listen to it and we realign how we eat, how we move, how we sleep, how we restore, that midlife energy becomes something that we create on purpose, not chase. And those of you that do mindset work, with me or elsewhere, you know that what we chase, like it tends to run, right? And so it like run away. We don't want to chase things. If you're chasing money, you're pushing it away. If you're chasing love, chasing friendship, we want to create it in a centered, balanced place. So this month is about awareness. It is Menopause Awareness Month, but it's about awareness in general. And for me, awareness means empowerment. Awareness is freedom, because when we become aware of something, then we can change it. When we become aware of, like, for example, like how the laws of the universe work and how to eat healthy and all these, when we become aware, that's empowerment. That's freedom, because you're learning. Awareness is every time we're on a higher frequency, every level of awareness. So understanding how your body changes in menopause gives you back the plan, the map, the keys to your own energy. So it comes understanding and then implementation. And, I often say to people when I'm like interviewing them to see if I can accept them into one of our programs, I'm like, look, the way that we work with people it's not just about labs. It's not just about supplements. It's not about one thing. We're actually changing the way we think, the way we move, the way we eat, the way we walk through life. And I'll ask them, is that the kind of transformation you're looking for? Because if it's not, I'm not the right fit, and that's okay. But I want to just, again, one step at a time, not in an overwhelming way. But when we leave one of the boxes left unchecked, we can feel it. It's like those legs of the stool. My very first podcast, I think, was about the pillars of health and those 4 legs of a stool. And if you're missing one, you're going to be wobbly. If you're missing 2, you're probably falling over. If you have none, you're on the floor. And so bit by bit, step by step, success is just a series of small wins stacked up over time. Little things make the big difference. We start to transform our lives and get our joy and our health and our energy, and we thrive. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you found this super helpful. And if you have a friend who's struggling with energy or fatigue that you think this would be helpful for, please share it. And share with us what was most impactful for you. What shifts are you going to make? What changes, what ideas really move the needle for you? I'd love to hear from you all. So DM us, email us, hello@uplevelholistichealth.com. And I will see you next time. Bye. Thank you for joining me on this episode of UpLevel, Real Health, Real Talk. I hope today's conversation inspired you to take the next step in your health journey. One that nourishes not just your body, but your mind and spirit as well. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you found value in today's episode, please leave a review. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep thriving. And remember, true wellness is a journey, and you are on the right path.